Oh.
Okay, good morning. So this morning's lesson, we're going to do a little mini lesson today. And this little mini lesson today is going to be on what's called chunking. And chunking is a way that I'm going to show you. We're coming up to the end of the semester, and you guys are going to be taking your EOC test and end of the course test and finals in all your classes. And chunking will help you get through some of the reading, especially if you come across words that you've never seen before that have multiple syllables or sections to them and are lengthy in letter composition. So I put out on your places, I've got this sheet of paper here with some words, and I've given you this bookmark, and you can take this bookmark home with you. Now, what I'm going to show you how to do on the bookmark is how to use the bookmark. And so if you take the bookmark and you hold it like this, the way I'm demonstrating it, right? And if you look at your word, and if you cover up the top word, if you cover up the top word, and if you were reading this word, and if it was a new word, and if it was in the context of something that you were reading, you would be able to figure out, or help you figure out what the word might mean, or what in the context of the reading. But for our purposes here, we have these words in isolation. And what I want you to do is, what I use the card is that I cover up the word if I'm at a word that I'm not too sure of, and I pull it to show parts of the word, and then maybe I can see parts of the word or groups of letters of words that I've already known, that I know how to say those words. So if we look at that first word, and I'm going to ask for you, Alex, if you look at that first word that you have there at the top of the page, and without saying the word, because you might know it, but for our purposes today, we're going to make believe, even if you didn't know it, that you didn't know it. So the first word, if you're looking at that word, and you all can do this, when you're looking at a word, try to find parts of the word that you already know. That's our common knowledge. We do this in reading all the time. Remember I asked you questions? Have you asked, do you know something about the topic or something before we read? Well, the same thing with words when you're reading and you're by yourself, you're in a testing situation. What can I do to help myself get through the reading? So if I look at that first word there, Alex, do you see any part of that word that you know, that maybe you see even like a little word inside of it?
Mature.
Okay, mature. Okay. So if I was reading that word and I was stuck a little bit, I could cover up that word, and I know that that back part says mature, so now I got to get that I-M in there. So if I got my little card here, I know I have to get my mouth ready for that. Which letter do I have to get my mouth ready for when you're reading? When you're reading a new word there, Charles. When you're looking at a word, the first word that you see, when you see a word that you're stuck on, where does your eye go first? Does it go to the back of the word, or does it go to the front of the word?
The front of the word.
The front of the word. And what part of the front of the word?
The very first letter.
The very first letter. So you have to get ready for that first letter. So if I was dragging this card, I would go, immature. Okay. All right. Now, let's try another one. David, look at that second word. Is there any part of that word there that, yes? Well, let's go. We're going to go around. That'd be good. All right. Dayton, is there another part of that word that you might know? Pat. Okay. And Monica, looking at that second word there, is there any other little words that you might see in the middle of that? Ron. Okay. And if we take our card, Allie, if we take our card, right, and we drag our card, that first letter there. So what's our first letter that we want to get our eye associated to? P. The P. And we have that the next letter is an A. So we've got to get our mouth ready. So we're gonna drag our card and we're gonna go eyes. You try it. Okay, very good. All right. Did you see everybody how she did that and how it sounded? All right, let's try one more. Dayton. No, I'm sorry, not Dayton. Zach down there at the end. Let's try that third word. Do you see any words or any parts of words in that word that you know?
Right.
All right, rate. And what about in the beginning part of it? You can see a little bit?
Yes.
A little bit? Okay. So we know that you have sat and you have that rate out of it. So we take our card. Let's take our card, right? And let's try it all together. Okay? Let's expose the S and we go saturate. Saturate. Okay? Saturate. Now, again, you might not know this word when you're reading inside of your text, but being able to sound the word out might trigger something that you've either heard the word before, or maybe it'll help you figure out what the reading is with the other words around it. And we call those context clues, correct? All right, let's try another one. We have a couple more minutes. Now this one's a little bit even larger. You know, it's a longer word. It's got many syllables in it, okay? And if we look at that, remember you have to get your mouth right, and you have to find the little parts of that word. Jackie, let's look at that next word there. This word starts off with a PH. So how are you going to get your mouth ready for that? What kind of sound is that going to make in there? You know, like an F sound, correct? Right? And is there any part of that word that you know already, that you've seen before, or you could say? Any little chunks of words in there?
Mental.
Mental, or even if you shorten it down, men, right? Men, okay. Chase, do you see another little word in that little word there, in that big word?
No.
No, okay. And that's a good part, because that's going to be a good clue. Because let's try it again, all of us. So we know that PH makes that F sound, right? So let's drag it, and let's see if we can get through the word since we know a little bit more about it now. So we drag our card, and we get our mouth ready. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Okay. And let's try another one. Okay. Monica. Let's try the next word. Let's take a look at that word there, the next one down, and take a look at those the letters in that word. Do you see a word or something right in the middle of it that you might know? 10. Okay. And what about the beginning part of that? The beginning part of it. Where's your eye going to go first? When you're first reading it, what's your eye going to see first at the beginning? The C, okay. So let's try that. Let's drag it. We know that it's going to start with a C, and we got that 10 in the middle. Let's drag our card. Let's see if we can say it, okay? Let's drag our card, everybody together. Let's drag it. So we got centennial. Centennial. Okay. All right. Who hasn't gone? Dayton, you haven't tried one. Let's try the next one. And again, so if we look at the word, you know, you're reading along and you're looking at the word, do you see something in that word that you already know?
Ten.
10. Okay, 10.
Or not 10.
All right, let's take a look at this. You saw a 10 in the middle. Did you see that? And this will be the last one. So if we look at that, if we take our card again, and we pull it along. We have that IM in there. We have to get our mouth ready for that, right? So we have M, and then we drag along. Pertinent. Impertinent. Okay? So this is how we do, we try to find chunks of words in our reading. Now, according when you're taking a test, you're not going to have this little piece of card there. What could you use instead of a card?
Your finger.
Your finger.
Yeah.
Your finger.
Yeah.
And your finger, you could cover up the whole word, right? You could cover up the whole word and then just drag it so you can find sections of words that you know. Okay, you guys did very good today on this. And let's go back to our places and we'll do we'll start our regular lesson. Thank you.